YouTube, what is good? We are back for another episode of Marvin's Room, and I'm super excited today because I have a wonderful guest, wonderful guest, Miriam, who also has a YouTube channel as well, and is talking about, the same thing, law of attraction, law of assumption, Neville, Abraham, all of these wonderful, beautiful teachers that are out there, past and present. And we are here today to bring you some excellent content. So, Miriam, please introduce yourself to everyone.
Thank you, Marvin. Hi, everybody. This is actually my first collaboration ever. So I'm excited. Marvin's a cool guy. So we have lots of things to talk about. And yeah, that's it. I'm excited.
Awesome. This is breaking news. Breaking news. First time Miriam is on the Zoom chat, getting ready to discuss some wonderful manifesting techniques, et cetera. So I'm excited that I can be your first Zoom meeting as well, because I'm sure this is going to breed many.
That's going on the Hall of Fame. That's
right.
Going on the Hall of Fame.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. You're gonna get a plaque when you get your 100,000 YouTube subscribers. You're gonna just put that and remember. Like, I remember I did my first Zoom meeting with Marvin. It was amazing.
Oh yeah. That's great.
That's funny. But so yeah, let's jump right into it. Let's we're probably gonna bring you guys a little bit of everything today, but let's talk about, I guess, law of attraction versus law of assumption, because I know there's a great debate and I want to hear your thoughts on it about, what do you think is law of attraction, BS, because some people say it's BS, is law of assumption, what resonated with you, I guess, more so, and also what do you think law of attraction, law of assumption, or whatever the case, what helped you manifest more easier, and what helped you manifest, I guess, most of your things in your life, and what were those manifestations as well. So I'll kind of like let you dive in deep into that.
Okay. First of all, I think that law of attraction and law of assumption are not to be separated because they're very similar. And after reading so many books and learning from so many amazing teachers, because I will binge watch and binge listen audiobooks for over and over, like sometimes 10 times, until I got it. Right. And every time, you hear a new insight. But after comparing all these teachings that I've had and received, plus my own insights, meditation, whatever, I really think that it's just different paths to the same door. Like everything, when we talk about vibration, or when we talk about, the energy scale that Abraham talks about, or Aaron Doughty, or, when he talks about our thought vibration, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, all these people, they talk a lot about, the hertz of our thoughts and things like that, and the heart coherence. And I just think all of it is just different ways of explaining the same thing, because there's only one way that the universal laws work. But since we are also unique and so different, and we see life with different glasses per se, so that's why I think there's just so many different methods. Some of them did not really resonate with me, so I didn't even use them. Like water techniques or the 55 fives, those things like that.
Yeah, I never did that shit either.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna be, writing all that stuff or whatever, or not even the Nikola Tesla thing, that 369, which is not his, it's somebody else's, but they call it the Nikola Tesla because of
what was the 369?
369 is supposed to be like you write 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the evening, 9 times at night.
Oh, I never heard that.
You try to focus on a different thing. If you have like 3 things, for example, you try to do 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, 1 at night. But yeah, like I am just, in general, I am a very simple person. Like the easier things are, The easier things are, the more laid back, because I love to observe nature, and that's been my whole thing all the time. And I just see how everything just flows so easily. And in my own journey, I just realize the more that you relax and enjoy, just the easier everything flows. So I'm like, okay, if this is not enjoyable for me or it doesn't talk to me, plus I'm an empath, and I'm just like, I just follow what feels good for me, period. So if it feels good or entertaining, or, because I like to test the methods and I like to see, and I'm like, okay, well, that won't work well. And just like that. But I literally follow my joy. I know it sounds like,
No, Abraham says that. Follow your bliss. Follow,
yeah,
the path of least resistance, the joy that.
exactly.
So I agree.
Exactly. So I think it's very unique to each individual. I don't think you can say, because then we go back to the pre-programming of like a school thing, right? Where every single kid comes with their own creativity and their own joy and whatever, and they right away put you in a box, right? The kid that goes outside of the box, it's always in the principal's office. Nobody wants him, is a troublemaker. And to me, I see things the opposite way. I'm like, that's the kid that's gonna shine in his life. That's the kid, if he keeps building itself, because we are here to bloom as we are. Like, you bloom as Marvin, I bloom as Miriam, everybody. So we cannot fit a box. Like, that's just definitely not. There's no way you will expand in your own like beauty or whatever you have to offer to the world if you're trying to just contain yourself in a box and follow things. So when you're learning, I think it's fine because you don't know, so you need to test and try, but then you need to add your own magic to it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, law of attraction or assumption, I think it's the same, because if you're assuming something, law of assumption, if you're assuming something, you assume it to be true, whatever, then that gives you that feeling. So then it links to Neville's, for example, feeling is a secret, because the assumption makes you happy or makes you joyful or makes you believe in yourself, whatever. So it's all connected. Now, when it comes to law of attraction, as if you're like a magnet, and you're just sitting here like a magnet and everything is like attracted to you. But then you also think about the law of creation, or where everything is already created for you and you just have to allow it to come in. So I see very much similarities as well, because if you're attracting it, then you're allowing it to come in.
Exactly. And you know what also, the funny thing is that people say you don't attract anything. And I'm just like, how do you not attract anything? I'm like, okay, if you don't have $1 million in your bank account this week, but then next week you have $1 million in your bank account, didn't you attract that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't. So it kind of like throws me through a loop when I hear people say, no, their law of attraction is not, this and that. It's you align with your, parallel whatever reality, or
your parallel realities,
the quantum field, and all of that type of stuff. And I'm just like I just feel like so many people, they just like go all the way to left field with it and they're turning it. It's like, what are we debating? Like, I feel like we're debating like something that's indisputable, in a sense where, like you said earlier, it's all connected. It's all, you can't have one without the other. Like, you can't have law of assumption without law of attraction, law of divine creation. Everything's already created, so I definitely agree wholeheartedly.
I think, like, what you mentioned about parallel realities or reality shifting, whatever, like that is in itself a change of vibration too. And I remember I heard a while ago, we're constantly changing parallel realities. And I was like, I didn't like get it right away, but then it makes completely sense, because as we go through the day, when we encounter people or situations, we feel in a different, state. It's like when people say, I got triggered. Well, for example, if you got triggered, then that already shift you to the part where there's more triggers coming up. So you better shift back again. You don't want to get all those triggers, right? But it's like, to me, it has been more about just taking the information and, as I say, learning it. It's like if you go with a hairdresser, you know, some people are going to tell you, don't use the bleach that way, or use it like that, or don't do the haircut this way. Great but point. At the end, all the haircuts look the same to me, or pretty much the same. There's only so many haircuts that you can do, right? And it's the same. It's you know, framing your face, or so many colors of hair. Like there's only so much that you can do. But I think the ego plays a lot when you start like, I'm right, you're wrong, because who cares? Like, to me, I don't care. Like, if you don't agree with what I say, I'm not offended, because I know what has worked for me and how I manifest. So if you're manifesting by believing what you're believing, great. I'm not mad. I don't care. I'm happy for you. You know, it's like if you go and buy coffee, and your coffee, you like it black, and then you like it with, I don't know, macchiato or whatever, and you like it with 10 shots of vanilla, like, that's good. That works for you, right? And that works for me. So that's when it comes to the beauty of it. Like, and again, like, I like to compare with nature, because it's like I see one tree or one flower or this, and they all have their cool stuff. And that's it. Like, works for you. That's awesome. That's the whole idea, that it works for everybody. So
yeah, and we're all connected. You know, nature.
Exactly.
Nature has its, you know, what was that? The guy Fibonacci sequence.
Yes.
Fibonacci sequence. Basically, the guy he was from Italy, I believe, and he figured out that like everything in nature is kind of like the same. Like a flower either has, kind of like the Nikola Tesla thing you were saying, either has like 3, 6, or 9 petals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like it follows the same sequence.
Yeah, it all follows the same sequence. And like you look at a tree stump literally has the way, if you cut a tree in half and you look at the way the tree stump is designed, it literally looks like a human fingerprint. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like the tree branches on trees look like lungs. You know what I'm saying? Inside of a human. You know what I'm saying? So like people don't really realize, like, it's like nature has figured everything out. You know, even animals have figured everything out. Like they know, like, we're one, we're connected. Like animals haven't figured out, nature haven't figured out. The one thing, the people that don't haven't figured out is the humans. Like that, and that's why we're doing the work that we're doing, is because we're trying to help and teach and show everyone, yo, listen, nature hasn't figured out. Animals haven't figured out. Why don't we have it figured out? Because we have brains, we think too much. You know what I mean?
We overthink. So the whole idea of this is to actually get off your brain and actually access your mind. And with your mind, you access your heart. But the thing is here, well, first, programming, when you're, as I said, like society, school, your house, whatever, you know, like even when you're born, you're just pushed with a lot of rules in your house. And I'm not saying the parents are bad or whatever, that's nothing to do. I'm just saying this is just how we are, right? It's a bunch of rules. Like, you're not gonna, I don't know, jump on the table, or you're not gonna, you know, eat on your bedroom or whatever. Right? Like, you have this setup of rules. You go to school, there's rules. Then we have traffic rules. And I'm not saying they're bad rules. Sometimes we need, right? Like, especially traffic rules. Like, you don't want to be crashing with each other. But, you know, when it comes to, as I say, as a person, there is a lot of control. There is a lot of control, because it's easier to control masses if they all behave the same. And that's the whole thing. It's like, when you listen to your own intuition, because you're taught to listen to everybody else but your own. So we're always looking outside, you know, for the love, for the wisdom, for the comfort, for the healing. We want somebody else. Like, I see posts on Facebook, for example, pray for me because this and that. And I'm like, girl, you could pray for yourself and be more efficient. I'm not saying we cannot help each other, but people feel that they don't have enough power within themselves to fulfill their dreams or to heal or to receive knowledge or whatever. Or like you mentioned Abraham, and she does a great job, right? Like she's helping a lot of people. But when it comes to channeling, we all have channeling. We are all being channeled.
Yeah, we can all do that.
But she has a lot of people thinking that she's the only one, a chosen one, you know, and I'm not bashing Abraham before somebody gets
yeah, you know how people are.
over Abraham.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I'm explaining that yes, she allowed that access to her, but when she does that, like closing the eyes and I'm gonna connect, like you do that every time that you try to meditate and you're quiet. It's the same source speaking to all of us. There's no Abraham group separate from, it's the same thing. At least that's from my perspective and what I have experienced. You know, because I have experienced weird stuff in my life too, but I just don't have it show. I don't care about it, but I'm just saying, it's like, you know, we all have access. We're all being channeling, and some people say, you know, this angel talked to me, or this entity, or Ra, or whatever, and it's fine. You know, if that works for you and that makes you happy, it doesn't matter. All that matters is our evolution. And I don't know, to me, inner peace has been the most amazing thing that I've received from all this awakening and everything else. Just inner peace, the ability to see, and I don't mean this in a rude way, but to see the world literally weird as it is right now, with people going crazy. And I suffer, it hurts, but I don't suffer in the most sense of people suffering. I suffer because people don't see their own light. And they're so afraid of everything. They're so afraid of everything, and they feel they have to put their lives on somebody else's hands when you don't. And I am proof, with many, I could talk about many examples, but I think that will create debates over viruses and stuff. So we're not gonna go there right now. So that's it, Marvin. I'm gonna just stop myself there.
I get it. No, that's funny. I get it. So yeah, so now that I see like kind of like where you're at with, you know, law of attraction, law of assumption, and I'm pretty much kind of like on the same page,
Okay.
100%. And so let's talk about what techniques you might have used to manifest different things. And, you know, if you want to say, oh, this is a law of attraction technique, because I feel like pretty much all techniques are considered law of attraction techniques. And like, I feel like, I guess Neville's teachings are, which is basically just like assuming. And then, you know, the SATS technique, you know, state akin to sleep.
Yes.
I think maybe those are biggies and things like that. But I mean, like, I hate like saying, okay, like, did you use law of attraction or did you use law of assumption? Because like you said, it's all the same thing. But I guess kind of, if you want, go into detail a little bit about, you know, what techniques did you find helpful and what you were able to manifest using those techniques. What was easier for you?
Okay. So my techniques that have really worked for myself are, I would say, mainly three. So one is connecting to the vortex, how Abraham called it, or just being in flow, or being in the God state, like I think Neville says that, right? The God state. So I think that has been one. The other one is visualizing with the whole tones of reality, feeling it, you know, all of that, visualizing. So, but this part stuck with me. If you can see it in the eye of your mind and believe it in your heart, it's already yours. And I think that was Bob Proctor that said that. And that really like stuck with me. There's also this Bible quote, Mark think it's Mark 24 something, I forgot it, but it's Mark, that's for sure. And he said, you know, if you ask, whatever you ask, and you believe, like you truly believe, you know, you will have it. Like it's already yours. Like if you believe it and you're asking for it and you believe that you can have it, you're gonna have it. So visualizing, and the other thing that I told you, like the vibrational or vortex or whatever, it was just knowing that I was gonna get it. Like I knew it, that things were gonna be there for me and they were gonna work somehow. So those are very strong beliefs that I have in me, because that's faith in me. The other thing that worked greatly for me is affirmations. So I installed those by affirming out loud myself, by listening. When I first had a lot of blockages that I couldn't even say the things with my mouth, like they would just not come out. I'm like, who are you trying to fool? You know, like it's just not. So I used to listen to them. And even though my brain was fighting with them, right? Because your system will fight you to install the new stuff, because it's like, why are you bringing strange stuff if
Cognitive
we're
dissonance.
really cool here being miserable, right?
Yeah, cognitive dissonance.
So it's like we fight the feeling good. We fight the good stuff. It's like, oh, it's almost like you don't have the right to be that happy or to have the thing, right? Like, which is weird. But that's exactly what I did. So I started listening to them. Sometimes I would do subliminals. Just little note, if you're going to listen to subliminals, make sure that you're reading exactly what's written in them. I have heard of channels that are not doing very good things with subliminals and putting stuff on your brain that they shouldn't. So
that's why I don't listen to that. I never listen to subliminals.
I have like 2 or 3 channels that I really trust, and I have shared in my videos. I did one video about subliminals, like where I explain exactly, you know, what and how do they help and blah blah blah. But yeah, I'm careful with those. So nowadays I just repeat, I just talk to myself, and you know, because the more that you practice, it's like a muscle, it's just stronger. So you don't need to struggle that much. You know, if you go start doing exercise, the first day you're going to be dying and you're going to be sore for days and it's going to be so hard, you know, but the next day is going to feel easier and easier and easier, and then you're going to start adding weight and it's just going to be easier, and then you're just going to be, you know, lifting like whatever, like, you know. So it's the same. it's really, you know, like that. Because I started noticing, for example, I literally just have a thought that is just so strong, and something happens like right away that I'm even like, ooh, I did that. But then I get very happy because I'm like, ooh, I might be, you know, getting that creation muscle strong. So I get happy because that excites me to do the next one that is purposely. Because I've done things like when you were talking about what have I manifested? I know nobody will care about this, but to me it was very cool. There was a freaking fan in my house, like a ceiling fan, not working. And my daughter is like, it's not working. And it was summer, we live in Arizona, like you have to have AC and fan or you die, literally, so hot, right? So so she was telling me, and I literally was lazy about it. Like I was like, I know how to fix things, but I didn't want to fix it. And I also didn't want to bring somebody to pay it. And I was like, oh my God. So I ignored it. Days passed. She keeps telling me again, the fan, the fan, the fan. So I got so pissed, literally, because I didn't want to fix the fan. And I just thought about it. I was like, you know what? I don't want to fix this fan. Like, but I had all that. The visualization, I visualized the fan working because I was so mad. I felt it, you know, the fan, like, I don't want to do this. Why do I have to do stuff that I don't want? And I kid you not, and I made a video on that. I went and I'm like, fine, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna check it. So there's what the letting go, right? Like, fine, I'm gonna do it. So I went and turned the fan on, and it turned on. And I was like, oh my gosh, I fixed the fan. So I was like laughing by myself, and I had to do a video right there. Yeah, I'm like, guys, the fan is working, you know, because it's amazing how the vibration or your energy or your feeling or your assumption that you're great, got creating or whatever you want to call it. But I did that and I didn't have to fix it. I literally fixed it with my mind, with law of attraction, with whatever you want to call it. I fixed it. So, I mean, it might not be the specific person that you guys want, but you know,
Right.
it's just daily life, like
Same principle.
living with a lot of ease. And that's one of my affirmations every day. I live a life of ease, peace, joy, abundance, romance, love. Like I just repeat that to myself and things
Nice.
come to me. So it's good. But those are my main techniques: visualizing, affirmations, and just the allowing. You know, that's just trusting, allowing, letting it come in, like not worrying about it, like knowing. As I started looking at my life, even before I had my awakening and before I had all these understandings and whatever, and I started looking at my life, how much had I suffered, and things still worked out one way or another. So I was like, okay, then there's no need to suffer. There's no need to suffer.
Right.
Things will still unfold. So I don't suffer anymore. I don't struggle anymore. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So what would you say your frequency is on I guess the things that you want to manifest? So like let's say you want to manifest whatever, let's say money, let's just say $1,000 or 5, 10 grand.
Yeah.
What would your frequency, because this is, I know some people, and I tell people this all the time, don't turn this stuff into a job, and where you feel like, oh, I got to do this every day, or I got to do this, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, like, what's your frequency with kind of like your routine with what you do and manifest? Do you do it one time and then just let it go? Because I feel like if people, and there's things that I've done, visualize one time and I let it go, but
Yeah.
and then it shows up, whatever the case may be. But then it's like there's things where people probably feel like, oh, I gotta, visualize this, multiple times,
Yeah.
a ton of times, So I'm curious to know, how do you go about the frequency? Like every day, or is it 3 days a week? Or does it change depending on what it is you're trying to manifest? Because if you really believe, like, say on some like Jesus level shit, because I feel like that type of level, you don't have to visualize more than once.
Yeah.
You just, like, when you get to that level, you know what I'm saying, of some of these guys out here in the world, it's like, yo, all you got to do is one time and that's good enough. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? So
Yeah. This is like, it depends. For example, for me, because I realize I do a lot of self-study. So, I've been practicing yoga and teaching yoga for so long. So they teach you about svayaya, which is looking at yourself, right? Like looking in, and that helped me to heal myself when I was so broken. Like I come from narcissistic abuse, and I discovered I was a codependent, and which I didn't even know. I didn't know I was under narcissistic abuse. I didn't know I was an empath. Like all these terms just started coming to
right.
me as I started this journey. So I did have to go a lot within myself. Plus, I am just naturally, I guess, more. I spend a lot of time in solitude, just naturally,
Me too.
right?
As we mentioned and
Yeah.
talked about, yeah.
Yes. So I spend a lot of time. So that really gives you the time when you're alone with yourself to really start thinking and looking and observing at things. The other thing that I have, and I don't know if this is because I'm an empath or whatever, like, I don't know, but I've always been very loving, and it's very easy for me to find good on people. It's very easy, like that's one of the first things, and to ignore the bad, which I think it's like a sword of two, two blades, because that had led me to a lot of pain for loving people that were not responding how they should have. But then that also brought me to depths of pain that made me be where I am right now. So I'm grateful for that experiences, even that they were extremely painful. I mean, really bad, painful. So that helped me learn about my frequency and my vibration and getting to know myself more and realizing that my best times to manifest is when I am very relaxed. When I'm very relaxed, but a lot of people think is relax as in laying on your bed relax. No, no, no. It's your mind relax. So you could be laying on your bed or not, but it's just relaxing here, you know, where you feel the struggle, the pull and pull the whole day. And the more that I practice it, more even that I am. So I'm not Jesus, obviously, but I have had, you know, stuff happen to me literally like that. Like I have had people being annoying, and I'm sorry, like I'm not trying to be rude, but we need the example. So there's people that are annoying. I hate flaky people. I just, flaky stuff is just like not, I don't like wasting my time in my life with anything. So I go for what I want and that's it. I want it if, you know, I don't waste time. So when it comes, it just made me think of the videos when people ask, you know, I want my specific person to send me a text. I'm like, okay, that's why I don't have videos on that. I know they're very popular, but I'm like, don't you want the whole juice? You know, you just want a text. So
you just want to drop.
Yeah.
You just want one drop.
Yes. So I'm like, no, because I realized, you know, that's part of limiting yourself on what you can have. And I want the whole thing. So I like to go for the whole thing. Like, how often do I do it? I just follow my bliss. But what I was telling you right before, the annoying people, I have had people, you know, messaging me or whatever, or chasing me or whatever. And when I don't want to, I literally think, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't want this anymore. Like, you know, but the vibration that I feel within me, it's hard to explain, but I feel it. And it's just something that is just like, no, I don't want that. Like, boom. And it's hard to explain, but it's almost like it's literally done. Like it's just and like somehow these people disappear from my life, which is good. Like I wish them well. Like there's no hate in it. It's just I don't think of the person. Like I don't want this person. It's like I don't want this situation, right? I don't want the neediness on people. I don't want to experience that because then it's going to bring me more of that. So those are the times where I have been able to do it like really, really quick, that I'm even like, woo. Or one time I was doing affirmations about like, I have a yoga studio, yoga and dance. And I said like, I have a lot of clients and whatever, old and new, come to me, and literally like started getting text of like people that have been on my studio in the past, like, hey, I want to take classes again, right? So sometimes I do very fast other things because I know I had like abandonment issues and rejection issues all from childhood. So that for me has been harder, especially when it comes to relationships. So for that, I had to learn to navigate and step back from relationships and look at it and look, you know, why is this person not responding the way that I want to? What's within me that is mirroring in this person that? And it all goes back to what I mentioned earlier about the text, not feeling good enough or not feeling deserving of the whole packet. So it's like, okay, you can only get this little drop here, this little crumble here, this little, and that's when what I have been working on myself, that I'm like, okay, I'm done with the crumbles. I don't want any more of that. I want the whole thing, or I don't want anything. Like literally, I just send that message to the universe. But this is a process and it is a progress. So I'm putting Marvin to sleep, guys.
No. Don't say that. Don't say that.
That was funny. Anyway, this how often I do it throughout the day, but I go more for taking care of my vibration, how I'm feeling. Not so much anymore focusing on like, I gotta have the $1,000, gotta have $1,000, gotta have the guy, gotta have the guy, gotta have the, like, not more of that. I do work a lot on mental diets. I do, which I guess I forgot to mention that, but I do work a lot on mental diets because that to me is changing my programming. So since I'm with myself most of the day, I like to think and be like, I ask myself constantly, is this something that I want to manifest? Is this something that I want to see in fruition? And I also tell myself, I'm able to see I'm self-sabotaging myself again by telling me blah, blah things like you can't manifest or things like that. So I do that, but it literally goes throughout the day and I go like feeling it. So to answer you, even that I already made this long thing, but I just go by the feeling of it. Some days I feel very excited about things and I just want to be outside meditating, but I focus more on feeling good, more than what I want. Plus I've already gotten like several main things that I wanted. And to me, being in the inner state of peace the whole time, and as I said, like just looking at other people reminding me how I used to be and being able to not be there, it just gets me excited to help people to move from there to where I am. Because then things flow to you here. Like as I said, like even that I still want things in my life, they're not coming from a needy space anymore. So it's more relaxing because I know they will come because I learned to tap into that feeling. Like I know the feeling of knowing that I'm going to get it. So again, sometimes I do, get anxious or things, which is every time less and less and less, but it's more about learning to navigate yourself and your energy. That's just it. So I don't have a set up time. I don't have a set up thing. Sometimes I do affirmations. For some reason, when I'm in the shower, I love to be doing my affirmations. I start giving thanks for the water and how good it feels. I think it's because I'm relaxed, because I feel the warm water in my body and I love it. So I start like, okay, guide me to this, or what are the next steps that I need to take to do this? And I don't obsess over it because I know they will come. They will come maybe in an hour, maybe tomorrow, maybe, in a couple of days. But yeah, I just wing it. I just wing it.
Yeah.
Personally, I just wing it. However I feel it that day. If I need to rest, I rest. I wake up when I want to. I go to sleep when I want to. I try to follow everything like just within me. That was one of my affirmations started. I'm always divinely guided. I'm always divinely provided. I am always divinely protected. So that, I think, like, I really just feel that trust, because a lot of steps that I had to take in my life, especially when I divorced, for example, and I had my kids, it was a blind trust. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to end up on a shelter. Like, I don't know, so it was just blind walking. I didn't know about these things yet.
Right.
So, but I realized and compare, how did I do those things? Or when I was a Catholic, I was Catholic for 30 years. And I remember reading those nine prayer day things. I forgot what they're called. And we call them novenas in Spanish, but things will come through if I got two boyfriends like that. I know it's funny for all of you guys looking for your SP, but it was not the prayer. Now I see it. It was not the little booklet and the prayer. It was my belief that was going to work out, and the energy that I put into it, that I got so excited. So I had all that the law of attraction talks about, feeling it, knowing it, visualizing, because I would imagine myself with a boyfriend, whatever, right? So, but I was doing it through those little booklets. So it all goes back, like, that's why I say it's all the same thing, different paths to the same door. That's what
it really is. It's all definitely 100% different paths, all to the same door. And that's why I don't understand why so many people get upset, at, the way you do it, or, the techniques, for instance, scripting, You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, people will say, oh, you don't need the script. You know what I'm saying? And you have people on different platforms, different forums. Like, I know me personally, I've gotten bashed, you know, on Reddit, you know, people saying all types of shit about me. You know what I mean? Calling me law of attraction whore. You know what I'm
Oh my
saying? And
gosh.
like different, like calling me like a law of attraction porn star and like different types of shit. You know what I mean? And it's just
It's
like,
fancy.
it's crazy. It's like, why you guys are the exact opposite of what Neville would stand for. You are the exact opposite of what Joseph Murphy would stand for. You
Yeah.
know, any law of attraction teacher, they wouldn't come out and call people these kinds of names. But there are some hardcore radical Neville fans out here. Like there are some hardcore radical Joseph Murphy fans, which they had the same teacher, you know, and Abdullah or whatever.
Yes.
And so like and there's hardcore Abraham Hicks fans, and then there's people that don't understand shit about Abraham Hicks. There's people that don't understand about Neville. You know, they listen to it, but they don't
Yeah.
get it. So I mean, I get it, but it's just like, you know, listening to you talk about the whole, you know, Catholic thing, that kind of made me, you know, think about like, man, this LOA stuff is really turning into religion, you know, where people are screaming from the mountaintops, I'm right, you're wrong. And it's
Exactly.
creating so much division. And it's like, if I
Exactly.
script to manifest my new job, or if I script to manifest an SP or whatever, why is that such a problem with you if I'm not doing Neville and visualizing before I go to sleep? Like we're,
Exactly.
like you said, we're getting to the same, you know, the same door. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? It's just a different path, and all paths, you know, I believe they work. Everything people are saying, like whether it's myself, whether it's you, whether it's, you know, other YouTubers, whether it's people off of YouTube, like it's all going to get you to the same, you know, destination. And I tell
Yes.
people, you know, hearing you just say you wing it, I think that's 100% the right way to go about it, you know, because, you know, that's what's going to get your results. Like when you are trying to focus on it too hard, when you're trying to focus on something that you want like every hour, it's like people have no idea how much resistance they're creating,
Oh
you
yeah.
know,
You
when
choke it. You choke it.
exactly you choke it 100%. And so hearing you say that you wing it is like, okay, that's awesome. Like hearing you have gratitude, you know, is like, okay, that's awesome. You know, when you're relaxed, whether you, and people don't understand, like when you're relaxed, that's when shit comes to you. Just like you said,
Oh yeah.
when you're in the shower, that's a point where people are relaxed. People, I don't think people notice that. Like when you are like when people, I've heard people say like, oh, when I'm shaving, you know, ideas come to me, or you know, like you said, when I'm showering, like ideas come to me or things come to me, and it's because your body is in a relaxed state. This stuff isn't, you know, E equals MC squared. Like this stuff is fairly relatively easy, but it's like humans, we insist on making life difficult.
Complicated.
Yeah, it's like we can't, so
I
many
know.
humans, it's like they can't function unless there's like
Mhm.
life is difficult, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to show people as well as you, like, listen, don't stress about it. Take a step back. You don't have to do your visualizations for an SP every day. You don't have to do this technique every day, every
Yeah.
hour, every minute. You know, like you said, wing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm more of a believer, firm believer in that, and winging it, but also too having your mental diet, you know, something that you said as well, like really working on your mental diet, because mental diet to me is that what Neville calls I am, you know, that's to me your self concept, like you said in yoga, you know, looking within
Yeah.
yourself. A person's self concept should be 100% the focus. Your self concept, your self love, to
Yeah.
me, when you have that in alignment, when there's synergy between your mind, the thoughts you think, the words you speak, the emotions you feel, when there's synergy between those three things, that's when you say to the mountain, move, and
Yes.
the mountain will move, because you're working on your self-concept. All three are in alignment. Your thoughts, and most times there's no alignment. Your mind, there's no, like you said earlier, brain heart coherence. Your
Yeah.
mind is saying one thing, your heart is saying another. It's a constant tug of war. You don't know who to listen to, how to listen to it. And so
Yeah.
you're really making mind ego-based decisions instead of heart-based decisions that are going to get you into the same repetitive patterns. But it's like with all of this SP stuff, you know, I see, you know, too many people focused on, you know, too many people focused on, and they focus on saying affirmations like, oh, my SP is constantly chasing me. Oh, my SP is constantly thinking about me. My SP constantly wants me. My SP is constantly texting me. You know, my SP has eyes for me and only for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you can say these affirmations, but you can't look in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself, that's a problem.
Yes.
That's a huge problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And also like not feeling worthy, because why are you saying those affirmations? Because you feel that you are not worthy for this person to reach out to you, that you have to affirm it. But you don't feel like that with a friend or with a parent or whomever texts you the whole freaking day. You don't have that. You don't think like, oh, my best friend has to text me. They just text you, right? Or they just reach out to you. Or for example, I do have this video that I talk about stop being chased, or how to be chased, or something like that. I forgot what the name of the video, but it was around the chasing thing. And I talked about my own experience, because growing up, I mean, my face has been the same. Of course, I was younger and whatever. I probably even looked better, but I felt so ugly. Like I felt very bad. And what happened, I was always shy. I felt that I could not get any guy, you know, and I always had that self-concept of me. And of course it came from home. You know, I didn't have a good self-esteem, and I didn't know how to do it. And I'm not blaming my parents. It's just, this is how we grow up.
Absolutely.
So when I started working on myself and whatever, and I went to this, like, I decided to give it this was 2 years ago. I decided I'm going to go online dating. And I know people, sometimes they don't want that, but I was like, I don't care. I'm just going to play with it. You know, I wanted to uplift my spirit. That's it. I went online dating, and I didn't think much of it. All I thought was like, oh my gosh, a 40-year-old here, like I'm literally an old person, like, you know, going into here. And I was like, I don't know, but I'm just gonna do it. And I felt weird uploading my pictures and whatever, but I was like, well, you know, let's give it a try. I'm not gonna go to bars because I don't like that, and I'm not gonna go to church because I don't believe in religion. So where am I gonna meet people? I'm not gonna be in the corner asking people to, hey, like, you know, it's like, what else? So I did the online thing. But here's the thing, I had changed my whole self-concept, or most of it. I had cleaned a lot of it. I was confident, and I was not doing it because of the guys. I had no clue how this was going to turn out. And literally in 3 days, I had 400 messages of men of all, yes, I'm not kidding.
God damn.
I had the same reaction. I literally felt like I was Ariana Grande or something big. I'm like, wow, I'm hot. I look good, you know, because I didn't,
wow.
You know, it's amazing how things change when you start changing the self-concept. And I had been working a lot. I was not doing SP affirmations. I was working on me with Louise Hay affirmations.
Beautiful. Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing. She healed me a lot. Her teachings heal me a lot. Her books heal me a lot. So I will be listening to those on loop the whole day. I will get headaches out of them. So I'm not recommending people get headaches out of this, but I was so tired of hearing the negative chatter in my mind.
Right.
And with Louise Hay, if you go, it's all about yourself. If you have ever listened to her affirmations, it's all about what you allow into your life and you feeling deserving. I was not doing any SB affirmations at all. Right. You know, and I got those. So that's what I'm saying. What you mentioned, when you're in alignment, things flow to you. And yes, I wanted to date, I wanted a loving man, whatever, but that's how it turned out. You know, I literally had all these men there from all ages, all type of backgrounds, whatever, and that really uplifted me. And that's how I started feeling better about myself, that I was like, and now I'm not on the dating app anymore, but I receive messages or people on my channel. And that's what I was telling you, like, for example, in my channel, there's more men which I didn't know until I looked at it I don't know, maybe a month ago or so, when I learned about the analytics and I went and looked, and to my surprise, it was mostly guys. But this I know because I have been making affirmations, not about a specific person, but about guys in general, because I knew I needed to change certain concepts that I had regarding my childhood, my person, how I felt that men view me and things like that. And so I kind of accidentally manifested, like I was telling you, I accidentally manifested, to have more male subscribers. The other thing that I accidentally manifested is my son. My son is extremely loving to me now. We have a great relationship. He's 15. So those things, like I was not doing affirmations like my son has to do this or I have to have male subscribers. Like all that I was doing is going general, which is usually what I do with my affirmations, just go general, like an umbrella belief. So it
Abraham
was like
says that.
more like, yeah, like all men are kind to me, all men are supportive of me, things like that, because I knew I had blockages in there from my dad or from my ex-husband or things like that that I need to work on, because I know that it doesn't matter how many guys I get in my life, if I don't fix that within myself, they're always going to be reflected back to me until I clear them up. So that's why. And what you were saying about people being relaxed, like when they're shaving or whatever, that's the studs, right? What
Yeah.
Neville says, the stud state akin to sleep.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in reality, that is the brain waves. And I've talked about that because we have the gamma, beta, alpha, theta, and delta.
Yep.
Right? So you want to get into the theta state. And the theta state, you do access it when you're about to go to sleep. So that's the easiest thing. But throughout the day, we go throughout those states. We navigate throughout
We
those
do.
states. Some people stay more in the theta, some people are more in the gamma. When you're very concentrated on something, like maybe right now you and me were on the gamma because we're just like here, right? Like we're just very focused. So brain activity is going crazy. But when you are taking a shower, like, cause these things, washing dishes, when I wash dishes, that happens to me too. Like I'm able to affirm, but I already know that I'm on the theta state. I don't need to see my brain waves. I know it. I just know how it feels. So that the stats can be done at any time of day, really. Like it's about learning about you, your vibration, focusing on you. And it's a lot of people think that's kind of like a selfish thing, like, oh, you're giving to yourself. It's not, because it comes from a different perspective and with a different intention. It's not about me, what am I going to take from you. It's me, what am I going to give to me, what am I going to give to myself without having to steal from somebody else. And that's why the SP doesn't work for a lot of people, because they're looking to suck it. No pun intended. They're looking to suck it from somebody else, what they need to provide for their own. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to have your SP or that you're not going to have a great relationship. You're actually going to have a way better relationship, no suffering in it, or very mild, because you're going to be complete. And that's the whole thing that we all need to get.
Oh my God, 100%.
Yeah.
I agree. It's like people don't understand, when you do the work on yourself, you literally don't have to be around anyone and you could still be so happy. Like, and I think a lot of people are afraid because they're like, oh, if I work on myself, does that mean like my SP and I are going to be on two different vibrations, and like my SP is not going to want me anymore, or whatever the case may be? And it's just like, yo, you're thinking about the wrong thing, because when you vibrate at such a high level, like anything is going to want you. Everything is going to want you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter, what you've done. It's like you're focused on your self-concept. So it's like everybody's going to be drawn to you, even the good, the bad may only stay for a few seconds. But it's like when you vibrate at that level, because your self-love is so high, your self-worth, I am secure, I am worthy, I am irreplaceable, I matter, I'm important. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're vibrating at that so high, it's like people can't, like I tell people all the time, your heart is, what did Greg Braden say? Your heart is up to 5,000 times more magnetic than
Yes.
than your brain is, you know, and it's like 100 times more electric than your brain is. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So when your heart's in the right place and your heart is leading and you're healed, it's like everything's gonna want to be attracted to you. Everything's gonna want to be around you. So you don't have to worry about your SP,
Yeah.
you know, not being on this level or whatever, because it's really ultimately going to be your choice. You know what I'm saying? When things come back around, you're going to get to choose. Okay, do I want
Yes.
this to stay or do I want this to leave? You know, it's going to be your choice.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Exactly. It's a constant awareness. Do I want this in my life or not? But the thing is that when we're going for a specific person, for example, or for money or whatever, what we are in truth, what we're really going is for the feeling and the sensation of security or whatever else. That's what we want. So sorry, I had a message from somebody else coming. Okay, so you know, you have to. I lost it. Go for it.
no, you're right. It's the feel. It's really the. It's not. And you know, Neville says this. Neville actually kind of. I remember seeing something on YouTube a couple years ago where someone asked Neville contradicted himself because Neville manifested his SP or whatever the case.
Yes.
But then years later in one of Neville's lectures, he actually says when someone asked him a question, I forget what lecture it is, but someone asked him a question about manifesting a specific person, and Neville basically kind of like shot it down, and he was like, it's not the specific person that you want. He was like, it's the feeling.
Oh yes, that's what I
It's
was talking about.
yeah, and that's what you were talking about. He's like
Yes.
that. It's the feeling that you really. It's not necessarily specific. You want the
Yes.
loving feeling relationship, etc. He was like, it doesn't. It doesn't necessarily have to be that person. That's what you want.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about. So it's like all these things that you want. It's you want them because you want the feeling of it. But a lot of people still don't understand that, and that's fine. I didn't understand it for a long time either. So that's why when people are like, money is not spiritual, or a specific person is not spiritual. No, everything is spiritual because everything is on the path that you're evolving. So the whole thing of you being able to manifest is not the manifestations itself, is who you are becoming as you manifest the thing. And now there's a new version of you that understands life better, and you become, I call it onion layers. I know it's not it's not the best thing, but I call it onion layers, like Shrek. So because it's like the old version of you, boom, is out. So now there's a new you. So now you have a new parallel reality or whatever, or you start attracting things that will be on that onion layer.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
you think it's like, oh, I got the money, or I got this, or I got that. And yes, you got it, great. But the main focus is, who did you become? How do you feel about life now? And you know, then there comes the next layer and the next layer. So that's like, from all the things that I've manifested that have been very cool, my main one, my main joy of it is be who I am right now. Like literally be unbothered on situations or circumstances or things, because I can see the big picture. And I'm not claiming I know everything. I'm still in evolution. I don't know how many more years I'm going to live, and I'm pretty sure there's way more to this. But literally, it's like I live in another world and a new earth. Who says that? That's Joe Dispenza, I think, New Earth. But yeah, it's like, and people, when you were saying like, if I change to a new vibration, is my SP gonna come to a new vibration? This is what I do for my own self. I'm like, I'm not stopping myself or anybody, because I'm doing a disservice to other people if I do that, right? So my evolution evolves everybody else's. Your evolution evolves me, evolves everybody. So I go up, and if my SP goes up, great. He's meant to be there with me. If not, he has his own path, and I need to be okay with that. Now, if we go into the manifestation thing, and yesterday I was reading about the pruning shears of revision with Neville, where it talks about you should only see in your mind everybody as the best version that you can imagine them, regardless. So then I start, okay, so I'm testing that one now with certain people. But you know, that's great, because it's like you want good for everybody. So you don't need to desire, even if this person, your specific person, I know in your ego mind or whatever, you want the specific, you want, it has to be that one. I'm not going to love anybody else. That has to be the one. But what you understand is that seeing them vibrating higher with you is good for them too, not only
Right.
for you. Whether you guys continue in the life together or not, that's wishing something good for them. Because why would you want somebody to stay in a low vibration?
Right. Right.
Right? Like you're supposed to want, but then some people start like, well, if they get the good stuff, then I'm not gonna get it. And it starts competition, or like what you were talking about, Reddit and whatever else, like, you know, you are this and that, calling you names, like for what? You can totally see, you know, what vibration are they vibrating at. Because to me personally, I don't care if people say something, I just watch and observe it, and I'm like, cool, that's what you think, that's where you're living at. I'm not. So boom, go out of my reality, because you know, I vibrate what the good things are. Like that's my thing. And I know this might come around as cocky, but when you understand these things, you're not cocky, you're just choosing, because we're all choosing. So if you're choosing the crappy stuff because that makes you think that's not cocky, well, go for it. I don't, because
Right.
I'm like, hey, I go outside here in my morning and I see all these birds flying in my trees and I love it. And they teach me a lot. They're living the life every morning. So why am I not going to live the life every morning? Like, you know, it's simple. Like you say, no need to complicate, no need to complicate the existence. I don't care about which technique, if it's working for me. I did a very long video that I think it was kind of boring, but I was just so excited, so I couldn't stop talking like right now. And I literally appear $10,000. Like they appear on my account. I have not been able to see from where did they come from. Every time I try, something happens, stuff gets blocked, whatever. So I stopped trying, because I was like, I'm not going to question God or the universe or whatever, because if my heart is pumping right now and I'm not questioning why my cells are shedding and getting new cells every day and getting new hair and who is moving all this, then I'm not going to question who appeared the 10,000 there. I don't care. Like it is what it is. But you have to be open to these things. It's like
Right.
you're entering a new world, and it's like a magical world really for us, from when you were on the 3D and you believe everything, you know, was physical and this way, and rules and government and whatever. And then you're like, you shift to this new world or parallel reality or whatever you want to call it, where everything is mind. Like all is mind. You can do everything with your mind. I'm not saying don't take physical action, we still do, because we're still in a physical world.
Right.
But it's like you realize this, it almost feels like superhero powers, right? Like you just realize like, ooh, you know, and you start looking like, oh my gosh, I did create all this, good and bad. You can't be acknowledging you just created the good, because you created the bad too with your thinking, because that's part of your understanding that you have to take responsibility, that you had this thoughts that were not creating what you want, or these beliefs. But the great news is like, who cares about that? It's done manifestations, whatever. What you care is like, you know, like, ooh, what am I going to create right now? Right? Like, what can I create right now? How can I change this? And having fun. You start obsessing, you choke it, you kill it. It's like no fun anymore for anybody. So you're not in alignment anymore. You go back into your brain, and you need to be into your mind, not in the brain. Brain is all like, you know, wants to make logic of everything. I have to go into the mind, which that's expansive and whatever else. So
Yeah. Yeah, well said. Listen, no, that's well said. I actually want to get your opinion, and this is the last thing, if we can close with this. I want to actually get your opinion on um, the quantum field, because like there's so like I feel like, and I made a video about this, and I said there's so many gray areas in manifesting. There's so many gray areas in life. Like nothing is guaranteed. Like nothing, like we don't have the answers. There's just certain shit we don't have the answers to. Like we gotta just face that, you know, and that bothers some people because people are black and white. And so like I hear people say, no, the quantum field, it's done, you know, oh, everything's already done, blah, blah, blah. And I get that. But I swear to God, I will give someone $1,000 if they can answer this question for me. And it's the SP question. I swear I will, because I feel like nobody can answer this question. It's like if there is 8 people that all desire the same specific person equally, who gets the person? If there's 8 women that all desire the same men, I mean that had the 8 that all desire the same man, who gets the man? If there are 10 women, I mean, if there are 10 men that desire Miriam equally, who gets Miriam? You know, no one can answer this question for me. Like they give me these answers of, oh,
I have an answer.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but it's like that man has free will, or Miriam has free will. Miriam gets to choose out of those 10 men who she wants. And so that kind of goes into like, people don't like, you know, people are afraid of this whole free will talk. They don't want to believe free will exists because they think that they can't get their SP if free will exists, and that's not true. So I want to hear your take. I guess I want to hear your answer. Maybe I'll give you the $1,000.
Woo! And the 8 men. I'm just kidding. So to that, I do have an answer that makes complete sense in my head. So I don't know if I'm going to confuse people, but this is what I truly believe. And when you talk about quantum physics, you know, I read the Vadim Seelan book, The Reality Transurfing.
Yeah, I've read that.
Yes, that's an awesome book. It's an awesome book, extremely long. It has complicated stuff.
Very
it almost
complicated.
looks like somebody got high and doesn't know what it's saying. But once you listen to it several times, you start understanding. Anyway, going to the question. This is my perspective on that. If 8 people want Marvin and 8 people are aligned and they're going to get Marvin, this is my perspective, guys. Okay. In their realities, all Marvins can exist.
Absolutely.
So Marvin could be with all these women. So this kind of makes me uncomfortable, but it makes completely sense to me, because if that is true, it means that probably another version of me is married right now with my ex.
Right.
Or, you know, or it's sleeping with somebody that this version of me would not want to. But at the same time, it makes complete sense to me, because if everybody can create their own reality, if this is true, and I have not been able to experience myself in other realities, right? Like experience the other versions of me, but I have been able to change my own reality by using all these methods and whatever, right? So
I'm talking about, real quick, I'm talking about in this 3D world, like not other worlds. I'm just talking about in this 3D world, who gets
but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, because it's not separate.
Because I feel like a person can't, like Miriam, you can't be in a relationship with 8 men. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to do that. So it's like, that's why I'm saying, like, who's out of all 10 men that desire Miriam or whoever the hell?
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Marvin, because once you understand this, you realize that the 3D world is just like in a way, a holographic reality.
Right, it is. I agree.
So, you know, oh my gosh, who said this? I think it was Greg Braden or Bruce Lipton, whatever, which that part was very strange to me, but also makes sense. You know, when it comes to quantum physics, when you're looking at something that's there for you. So if I'm looking at this bed, it's here for me. But that quantum physics says, if I walk out of my room, this bed doesn't exist anymore. This room is not here anymore until I turn around and look at it again. That's what quantum physics says, right? Which is very mind-blowing, because it's like, okay, nothing is behind me right now, but if I turn around, then it is, right? So then that will be your 3D world. And that is supposed to be, you know, the quantum physics is supposed to be, you know, backed up by science, scientific proof, which will be, if you go into science, that will be the most 3D thing, right? Like, I mean, supposedly spirituality and science are divorced, supposedly, right? So yes. So that will be the most, physical thing. So I get what you're saying, and it's true. Like, I get it on your 3D, but we're not thinking on the 3D by itself anymore. And even if you taught it on the 3D, like, everybody would be with this man if this man wanted to be, and if this women wanted to, like, align with them. It's just we can't experience those worlds because they are experiencing from their eyes. It's like you're experiencing myself from your eyes. You can't, like, if everybody else that is going to be watching me right now, it's going to experience me with very different Marvin eyes. Like, they're not going to have Marvin eyes for me. It's going to be very different. So I'm going to be a complete different version of me within them. So my answer to that, it's like, you can't, if you're thinking there's going to be 8 physical bodies right there and you're going to see them all 8, it doesn't work like that. But in their world, so in your world, you can be experiencing me with one of the men. You can be seeing me with one of the men. But then in somebody else's experience, maybe I am with another man. Does that make sense? Yeah, so you would not see me with all the 8 men in this world, or in your world as you're seeing me.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
That's my perception of it. When it comes to that, because even if you think about it, if I go right now, like, let's take the universal law out of place and go a little bit more into the 3D density world. If I go to somebody else's house right now and I ask them their view on something, their view on the pandemic, they're going to have their own little thing and they're going to see their own little world. And I'm going to be able to experience what they're saying because I'm at another level of understanding, right? But let's say these people are completely dormant and they're just in the 3D reality. So what they will see, it's their reality right now, even though they cannot see it, but that's their reality right now, right? Like being scared or afraid to die or whatever, like those things, like is their reality, and that is true for them. Everything that they think, it's true for them. If they think that the social distancing is going to save them, that's going to save them because that's there. So going very much into density, in every house that I went or in every person that I went, they would have their own world, their own 3D reality. But when you awaken to these truths and you start expanding your consciousness and seeing these things, I think it's totally possible that I'm seeing that house with that man and that couple, but maybe in your world, that man is with another couple. You know what I mean? Like, that's my that's my, I don't do drugs, guys, okay? This is from all the information I have in my brain. Maybe I'm moving crazy. But that's my perspective on it. So I would think that if every woman was aligned and really wanted this man, they could have him in their own realities just for themselves. Like, in their own reality would be like, this man is married to me. And then the other girl would be, this man is married to me. And this man is married to me. And maybe that man is not even married to any of them in his own reality. He might be in his own reality awareness.
Right.
Be married to whomever he wanted. That's my perspective.
No, that's one of the best. That's probably one of the best answers I've heard around this topic. I haven't really asked a ton of people, but I know I've like gotten into it, and trying to like go back and forth with people in the comment section about, okay, yeah, that makes sense, or okay, but what about X, Y, and Z? Like, always like that what if question. You know what I'm saying?
That's how I feel that it is, because there's no other way that I think, since everybody can have what they want, and there's abundance for everybody, and we're all connected, and everything is possible. Because I've seen people change and do things literally. Oh my gosh, thought transmission has been a big thing for me, like realizing how this thing works. Because the more I'm aware of it, the more it shows up. And then I go into the rabbit hole of, wait, is this actually true, or am I making it true because I make my own reality? Right? So then that's when I just pull myself out and I'm like, okay, time to just go and be a normal person and just breathe outside, because you know, you can really get into like, you know. So I only think about those things and ponder about those things when I feel good about it. If I'm deep, I'm like, and I pull myself out, right? But yeah, I mean, I just do this for fun, but in reality, what makes you happy, that's the answer. Follow your bliss. Follow your bliss. Follow your bliss. Learn from other people, and from there, it's like tasting a buffet, right? Like you're just taking a spoon of everything. And, ooh, I like this one. Okay, give me more of that one. And okay, oh, you know what? I don't like this one anymore. Now today I'm gonna choose this one. So I don't think you should stick to this. Also, another thing, even though we are sharing and helping other people understand, as well as we're learning and evolving, some people, you know, idolize people, idolize teachers, but we're all here learning. Even Neville, like, there's no, when you idolize one human being, you are idolizing something outside of you again. So you have to go back to yourself, because there's no need to idolize anything or anyone. It's just connection. This doesn't work with idolizing. It's a feeling, an emotion, a vibration, I don't know, an energy. Like, you know, it's just very different. So there's no idolation. You can love someone and love their teachings and go back to it and study them, but don't make it your source of, that person is going to give me that, because it's kind of like the SP again. Right. That person is going to, so yeah, you have your SP, you're going to enjoy the hugs, the kisses, the company, the whatever, vacations, the friendship. But in reality, they're not your source. You should be able to have fun with you. You should be able to feel loved with you. You should be able to feel abundant with you. That way you're not going to be suffering. And that doesn't mean that you don't have the specific person or the money or whatever, you know. Right. But yeah.
Wow, beautifully said. Beautifully said. I couldn't have said that better. I'm glad you touched based on that, you know, to end it, because I think that's extremely important about, you know, nothing is your source. You know, don't, you know, listen to Neville or whoever and, you know, don't essentially idolize anyone, you know, because we're all teachers, et cetera, et cetera. Oh man, this is like, this has been such an amazing, heartfelt conversation. Like, I could feel the realness. I love the realness. I am 100% sure we will have other topics, and we will most definitely 1000% reconnect, because I just thought this was an amazing conversation. I can't wait to share it with the viewers. And this was just phenomenal all around. And man, it's so refreshing to talk to people that understand this stuff, and you know, getting perspectives, and you know, being on the same page, all that good stuff. So I am extremely grateful that you took the time to do this with me. I can't wait to see the reaction, you know, from the viewers, the questions. I know it's gonna blow, you know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to it. Miriam, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Marvin. Very exciting to do my first collaboration, and I love what you chose. Yeah. Yeah, it was very, very good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Guys, we are getting ready to sign out. This has been another episode of Marvin's Room. I'm going to leave Miriam's details in the description link below. Head over to her channel, hit that subscribe button, like her shit, because she is the shit and she is growing just like me. So support her. And I will see you guys next time. You know where, you know when.